So I'm really, not going to take much time. Yesterday only I took a lot of time. But anyway, so today I'm going to give you a glimpses or what I can say is overall idea of how to write a research paper. Okay, how to write an academic research paper, irrespective of the subject. And since we are being from the science fraternity, it will be always oriented or it will be towards science only, that I cannot avoid. So anyway, in between, if anybody got any doubt or if you need any elaboration, you can please stop me and ask me. Okay, so I told you that in the last lecture also. Today also I'm going to repeat the same thing. I hope I am audible and slides are visible to you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes. Any query?
No,
No.
ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, yesterday we have learned about literature survey and how to start the research and how to file a patent and other things. Today I'm going to tell you if you have done some research. Okay, so if you have done already some work, either in the science field or in the commerce or in the arts field or something like that. So how you can put, how you can summarize your work and how you can publish your work. Because if you have done something, it should be published. Otherwise, it will not be visible to the community. Okay. And also it is a mandatory for getting PhD to publish 2 papers according to UGC. So still new UGC draft is not yet accepted. So now it says no, it's not necessary to publish any papers. But anyway, according to our present rules, so we have to publish 2 minimum papers in order to, 1 minute. Sorry, had a little bit of interruption. Yeah, so it is mandatory to publish a paper. Okay, so if we want to publish a paper, first of all, we should have some background work for writing a paper. So now I am going to tell you what is a research paper and what are the main structure of research paper and how to deal with the research or writing the research paper. So on the right side, you can see one of our research paper and the Journal of Molecular Graphics and Modeling. This has been written by me and my student. So this is how the first page of the research looks. So Elsevier, this is the publisher name, and this is a journal name, and this is the title of the paper, and these are the authors. Okay, so here you can see the address, this is the abstract, introduction, and that is how it goes. So first of all, let us understand what is a research paper. So research paper is a type of academic writing that provides an in-depth analysis, evaluation, or interpretation of a single topic based on empirical evidence. For example, if I see the title of my paper, like Conformational Exploration of RBGA using Molecular Dynamics, so I should get complete idea or in-depth idea about what we have done in this particular work. So using molecular dynamics, we have studied what are the conformational exploration of a GTPase called RBGA. Okay, so here we have also written possible implications in ribosome maturation and GTPase activity in different nucleotide bound states. So when we bind the GTPase with the different nucleotides, so we have studied how it is going to change with the its structure or its conformation. So research paper should tell you an in-depth analysis and also interpretation of a single topic based on the empirical evidence. That means there should be a basis for the writing a research paper. So that means you should have a thorough understanding of what has been done in the literature. Then only you can write the research paper. Yeah. So if you go to the ChatGPT, I hope you all know ChatGPT, right? Yes? Yeah. Yes or no? Yeah, it is an AI, artificial intelligence tool. So if you ask the question, what is research paper? This is the answer you are going to get. The left side, I have put the answer of ChatGPT, and the right side, I have put the answer of Wikipedia. So a research paper is a structured document that presents original research, analysis, or findings on a specific topic. It is written to contribute new knowledge, validate existing theories, or challenge. You see, whatever the research paper we are going to publish, we should come out with some new things. Okay, so it need not be an invention, it need not be a discovery, but we should have a original research. We should present a original research in a systematic way. So that is what the research paper is. So you can read or you can give what is research paper in the Wikipedia or the Google, and you can also understand. So writing a research paper actually requires, I mean, some structural format or some standard format is there to write a academic research paper. So what are these things? So the first one is abstract. So I told, I mean, I shown my paper where you can see this is the abstract, and it then starts with the, I mean, introduction. We will have keywords, all those things are there. So we have to write an abstract. Abstract tells you the gist of what you have done in the particular paper. And the next part is introduction. So introduction should tell what is known, okay, and what is our understanding of that particular problem or that particular topic we are dealing with. And next is what is unknown. It should also tell that what is known and what is not known in the literature. So that means it should discuss about the gap in the literature also. And then it should tell how and why should the gap be filled. What is the significance of, or what is a purpose, or what is a hypothesis with which we have done that particular work. So introduction should deal with all these things. So if you, I mean, if your introduction is good, your paper will be really good. Okay. So introduction speaks about the quality of the paper. And next is the methods. That means what is a particular method you have adopted to done or to do your research in a systematic way. And next is the results. So what are the results you are getting? And discussion. What is the reasoning for the results you have got? And finally, conclusion. So conclusion should summarize with what intention you have done the work, and what are the important meticulous results you have got, and what is a conclusion or future perspective you are going to give to the community. So this is a particular structure of research paper. Okay. So why it is important? Why it is important to, write a research paper? So research papers are an excellent platform to disseminate a novel finding to a general or focused audience. So you have done something, you don't tell it to the audience, means it's not going to be, reached to the audience, right? So people will say knowledge should flow. It should not be still water, right? So it should be flown. So you are going to give ideas to the audience, and based on your ideas, so people are going to do something else. If you don't publish, some people may be doing the same thing. Okay, so that is why research papers are an excellent platform to disseminate a novel finding to a general or focused audience. So audience will different. If it's a science paper, scientific audience will be there. If it is an arts paper, literature people will be there. Or if it's a commerce paper, some related audience will be there. So it depending upon the particular field and particular audience, so you can write the paper or academic paper. So which may be interested in replicating the experiment. Okay, so people may be very interesting, and they may duplicate or repeat the experiments, and your result should be repetitive. Okay, and also they can identify novel applications for the finding. Okay, so writing a research paper is a primary channel for passing on knowledge to the scientists working in the same field or related field. So throughout the world, people are doing many important work. So based on the literature, means what people have done, we are going to develop a new method, or we are going to develop a new idea or something like that. That is why publishing a paper or writing a research paper, writing and also publishing a research paper will be very important. It is important to show our skill of writing papers, to demonstrate our ability to understand, relate to what has been learned, as well as receive critical peer feedback. So we will get critical feedback by the reviewers. You see, if you carefully write the paper and if you submit it to the journal, it will not be accepted at once. So they will send the papers to the critical reviewers or the experts in the particular field, and they will ask their opinions, and the reviewers will make a critical comments, and you have to answer those critical comments. After your answers are satisfactory to the reviewers, then only the papers are going to be accepted. So don't think writing itself is a great thing. So I mean, getting papers to be published is a next step. Okay. So what are the benefits of writing a research paper? So first of all, if I say I have published some papers, hundreds of papers, so people will recognize me. So yes, she is talented and she has some stuff of knowledge so that she has published this work. Okay. So that is going to give you academic success, or people are going to identify you for different positions or for the appointment of different positions, and it will create an impact about your knowledge in the society or in the scientific community. And the time management you will learn, organizing and referencing skills you are going to learn, and most importantly, you are going to develop a critical mindset to see the, whatever you have written or you're coming out with your idea critically, you're going to, see and think. And also it is going to be helpful in academic writing publications, and it will attract funding opportunities based on your publications. If you are applying for any project, they will see your publication and they will see whether you have expertise in that particular field. If that is going to be the proof for your expertise, if you say I'm very expert, people don't believe. Okay, if you have published enough number of papers, that will show your expertise, and people will understand, yes, this person has expertise in that particular field. If we give this particular project, they are going to execute that particular project, and it will definitely give recognition, and you will develop a commitment. Okay, so when you go on publishing, you will just, what I can say, you will be passionate about publications. So even if you go back to your home, you will just feel, so let me open my publication, let me see whether I can add anything else to my publication or something like that. And you will develop analytical skills, and data evaluation will be learned, and you're going to learn research strategies, problem solving skills, and mainly you're going to see the collaboration. So you see, if you're publishing a good papers, people will approach you for collaborations. They will say, sir or madam, I'm also working in this field, please collaborate with us and help us in this regard, so that you will get more papers in collaboration. Proficiency, you're going to develop a proficiency in professional writing. So you just, writing is different and professional writing is completely different, and you will get a refined thought process, and you will develop research strategies and data literacy, skill transferability. Okay, so in this process, we are going to train the people also, right? So for example, I have 8 students, I have 1 postdoc also. So they will come out with the idea, then we will discuss with this continuous discussion. So what we'll say is, no, this part is correct, but you have to correct this. You come out with the correction, you come out with your own idea. So they will also be trained. Okay, so, and our skills are going to be transferred to the students, and we are going to sometimes learn their skills also. Okay. Yes. So if we see when the paper writing or paper publishing has been started, so we have to see certain history of paper writing also. So earlier, before this practice came for publishing, writing and all these things. So you can see people had written paintings, and also they made in the form of sculptures or in the writings and something like that. So scholars across the globe actually shared research informally through talks, letters, presentations in front of audience, etc. Okay, so they used to pass out through singing, or even by painting, and also by making sculptures or something like that. Okay, so that is how they used to pass on the message, pass on their discoveries, pass on their work to the future generation. And you all know, in our state also, Janapada songs are there. Janapada songs were nowhere written, but it was passing from one generation to another generation through practice only. Okay, so like that it was happening. So first scientific journal, that is Journal des Sciences, that has happened in 1665. You just see the year. So this is the first known scientific journal, and it is seized in 1792 and revived in 1816 as Journal des Sciences. Okay, so Royal Society of London and Philosophical Transactions, they became the first scientific periodical in Europe. So initially, research papers had no standard format. Okay, so research papers were increasingly focused on experiments, methods, and results, and they actually gradually adopted a structured format for better clarity. But in 20th century, people came out with the structured research papers. Until 1945, research papers resembled book chapters with varied headings. So they were publishing in the form of books with the chapters like things. Okay, so you can see that in the post 1945, after 1945, journals moved towards unified format across disciplines, and that is called as IMRAD structure. So what is that IMRAD structure? So that structure is like this. So introduction. So introduction will address why you are writing your paper along with the literature review, and method that will address how you are writing your paper, and the results what you are got out of your method, and discussion. So what you got, and you got something. So what is going to be like, what is your contribution for whatever the results you have got, and finally conclusion. Okay, so these are the different heads. Introduction, which will tell about background and research objectives. Methods will tell about description of the experimental methods. Results, which actually tell you about presentation of findings. And discussion, that will tell you interpretation of the results or implications of the results. So I hope it's okay, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay, or shall I have to go slow or something? You just, I know you have been like bored by so many lectures from 3 weeks. So I'm very sorry for that, but I don't want to make you more boring. But I try to explain in simple things. I hope you are understanding. Yes?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay, fine. So people have practiced to integrate the visuals. Visuals means graphs, figures, factuals, or even the statistical bar graphs or something like that. Okay, so you can see on the right side. So for everything I have gave a reference. Okay, so we have copied something, so we have gave a reference for that. So we have cited. And by mid-century, charts and graphs became common for data presentation. Okay, so because with the charts and graphs, we can explain our results better in a better way. Okay, so yeah, IMRAD format actually remains the dominant structure, so which I have explained in the last thing. So that actually included again what is a title, author, abstract, and keywords, introduction, methods, results, and again discussion at the conclusions, and finally the reference. So this is about the research paper structure. Okay, so I hope you will understand. Okay, so yeah, what are the common challenges faced by the researchers during writing a research paper? Okay, so all of you want to write a research paper, but what are the challenges you are going to face? So the major challenges are choosing a research topic. Means you might have done something, but your research topic, that should be based upon the literature review or literature survey. So you will be facing problem in narrowing down a broad area to specific researchable question. So that is where you may be finding a problem, and conducting a literature review. So these are the common challenges, not the difficulties. These are the challenges. Finding a relevant, credible source and identifying research gaps, structuring the paper, that is organizing ideas logically and following journal guidelines. So you see whatever the paper guide, whatever the paper steps I told, it depends upon the journal also. So each journal will have its own way of presenting writing the paper. So you can go to the particular journal and you can see what is a format for writing a research paper, and you can follow their instructions. That is also possible. And then writing clearly and concisely. So when you write a research paper, you should avoid complex sentences. Redundancy means repeatancy. Okay, so some people will write the same sentences in different meaning. Okay, so and also you should follow continuity, and you should avoid ambiguity. Okay, so you should not create any confusion. And maintaining academic integrity, that means proper citation. You should not copy somebody's work and you should say, so this is my work and I will submit it for for publication. And ensuring originality, so your paper should be your idea. Okay, so next step is interpreting and presenting the data. So that is also very, very important. So that should be like, you should have a proper methods to analyze your data and come out with a proper, discussion. Handling or reviewer feedback. So handling reviewer feedback, many times we will see that after even you address the issues, reviewers are not going to be happy and they're going to reject your paper. So therefore you should be careful in addressing or handling the reviewer feedbacks, and you should take it positively. So you should address these critics or comments constructively and incorporate it in your paper, so that it will be actually that enhances the quality of your paper. Time management means if you decide to write a paper, you should not take 5 years, no. So you should have a timeline and time management. Okay, so because it should balance between, you will be doing experiments, you will be doing analysis, you will be interpreting the results. At the same time, you should write your paper also, and formulating a research methodology. So choosing appropriate methods is also important. Data collection and analysis. So this is very, very important step. So you should have accurate data, and that should be valid, and also that should avoid biases. So you should not create negative results, and sticking to word limit. Some journals will say abstract should be written in the 200 words and the abstract should be written in 300, or the main body, the entire word limit of the article is so and so. So that you should also take care. Overcoming writer's block. So you should, you will struggle to start or maintain writing momentum. So sometimes you will write and after that you will feel, okay, I'm bored, how to write, what to write. So that phase also going to be there. Ensuring logical. Okay, so reasoning and logical thinking or logical writing is very, very important, and juggling multiple drafts and edits. So if you are confused, so you will have sometimes it so happens that you have to overwrite or you have to rewrite everything and start afresh. So you should not juggle or repeat, or you should not make multiple drafts and edits. And also choosing the right journal. This is a very, very important step. So after you have written abstract, you can, nowadays there are softwares which advise you to choose a particular journal. You can go to the journal finder, and if you put your abstract, it will suggest you which journal is suitable for your work. Or else you have to search for the journals in your field, and you should go to the journal website and you should see what are the, yes? Any question? Any question? No, right? Okay. Navigating the peer review process. So you have to handle rejections. So you are submitting means it doesn't guarantee you the, acceptance of your paper. Many times you will have many rejections. You should accept the rejections, and you should see what are the reasons for rejecting the paper. And then you should correct your mistakes. Again, resubmit it. Okay, so you should try until your paper gets accepted. And you will also face language barriers, because English is not our main language, right? So we have majorly problem with the English. So what you can do is you can adapt Grammarly. So now there are a lot of softwares which are paid, so they will help you very genuinely. So you can take the help of the such softwares. So now let me tell you what is the overview of writing a research article. So we have 3 steps. What is the first step? Step 1 is before writing a research paper. Step 2 is writing the paper. And step 3, aftermath of writing the paper. Afterwards, what we should do after writing a research paper. So before starting a research paper, that's a step 1. Choose a good research topic and research question. So you should first decide whether whatever the research topic I'm choosing is worth or not. How do you decide it? So you should decide based on the literature review. You cannot decide based on the tossing or something like that, right? So you should go through the literature and you should see whether if I work on that particular topic, it is going to be a good paper or good research or not. And then you conduct a literature survey and you collect the similar work which have been done on that particular paper. So gathering preliminary research and relevant papers, and then you decide the supporting evidence and gathering and summarizing them effectively. And afterwards, you decide the length of the paper, and afterwards, you decide the journal or the publishers. Okay, so are these steps final? No, they are not. These are just hints, or these are all the preliminary process I am telling you. These are all not the, final steps. You can come out with your own steps. Determine the type of paper you want to write. First of all, in the first step itself, you should decide what type of academic research paper I am writing. Then what are the different types of academic research papers which are there? So first one is an empirical research paper. So which will be based on original experiments, surveys or observations, which is followed by the IMRAD structure which I shown. That's abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussions and the conclusions. Next, we will have a review paper. So this review paper will tell or summarizes and synthesizes existing research without presenting a new data. That means, suppose if people have published 20 papers or 40 papers in that particular, area or the field, what you can do is you can go through all these 20 papers and you can write the summary or review, what they have written and what experiments have been done and what are their results. And then you can propose what is a future perspective. Such papers can also be written and such papers are called as review papers. Next is theoretical paper. This focuses on developing new theories, models or conceptual framework. Next is a case study. Case study will be in the case of, social research. It will be in the case of medical research. And it will be in the case of marketing or in the commerce research. So this provides an in-depth analysis of specific case, event or phenomena. Like for example, it may be about the sale of a car or something like that, okay, vehicle or something like that, or even a drug, how it is affecting a particular community or patients. So that may be also a case study. Methodological paper, it discusses new or improved research methods, techniques or tools. So somebody has come out with some new methodology, you can write a methodological paper. Perspective or opinion paper, this presents author's viewpoint on a current issue. Or this is for the sociology or political science. These people can come out with a perspective or opinion paper, what is happening in the current scenario and what is a viewpoint, author's viewpoint about it, and what is analysis and what is their point of view about that particular paper. So we'll have types of academic research papers. So first one is original research article. That is the same thing that is I shown you already, which has IMRAD structure. And then review article, which I have explained. Short communications. So this is brief reports on significant new findings, which is, I have come out with some discovery. So I want to put it or I want to publish it very rapidly or very fastly. So for such things, we have a short communication. And then we have conference paper. So many conferences are going to be, organized. So they are also saying we are going to publish a paper. So that is not going to be a research article, but still it will be taken as a conference paper. So sometimes they are also going to be in association with the journals and they are also going to make it as a journal article. And a book chapter, a detailed discussion on a specific topic, which is published as a part of an edited book. So you will write it as a book chapter. And book review, you can also, there will be a book which is already published. You can also write a critical review, critical evaluation of that particular book. That is a book review. And perspective or opinion paper, which provides an expert viewpoint or commentary on a topic, which is without any new data. Okay, so that is also possible. And methodological paper, which describes new methods. Okay, so how to choose the right type of research paper? So choosing a right, type of research paper depends upon how, what is the research you have performed. Okay, so based on the research purpose, whether you have come out with the new findings. If you are come out with the new findings, then go for the original research article. Suppose if you are summarizing the existing work, you have not done any new work, then go to the review article. So do you have any quick and significant results? Then write a short communication. So suppose if you are present or if you have already presented in a conference, you go for a conference paper. And whether you have come out with any new methods or techniques, then write a methodological paper. Okay, so based on the target audience also and publication venue, you can also, choose a particular paper. So suppose if you are, aiming at a vast audience, okay, so then go for the journal submission. So journal submissions, journals will take up original article, review, and short communication. So if you are, aiming at the students and the classrooms, so you go for the book contribution. So they will take up book chapters. And whether you are engaging or targeting the academic discussions or academic audience, then you go for the perspective or opinion paper. Okay. So how to choose the paper, right type of research paper. So you can, decide whether you can publish your paper or whether you can decide about the type of the paper or which you're going to publish based on the word limit also. Brief key findings, so you go for the short communication. Okay, so then following journal or conference guidelines, check submission categories and formatting requirements. Okay, so first of all, you should determine the length of the research paper. So you have your paper, you have your work with you, you have done extensive study, you have come out with a new work, and you have your analysis, everything is ready, data, everything is ready. So then the length of a research paper depends on the topic or assignment. Typically, research papers run around 4,000 to 6,000 words, but it's common to see short papers around 2,000 words or long papers over 10,000 words. Okay, so some papers will have typical or very strict word constraints. So before you write a paper, so you should see which paper I am aiming at, and after you decide a paper, so you should see what are the conditions of particular paper. Okay, so now let me assume that you have determined the research topic, conducted the literacy survey, and also gathered supporting evidences. Now it is it's a time to start your research paper. Okay, so how we start to write a research paper? So whenever we are going to write a research paper, the first step is to write a research paper outline. First of all, you should write an outline and then write the first draft, and then edit and proofreading that structure for grammatic mistakes, structural mistakes, spelling mistakes, citations mistakes, style mistakes, etc. All these things can be edited after you prepare a first draft. Okay. So first of all, you should make an outline. So what are the steps in making a research paper outline? First, make a list of all the important categories and subtopics you need to cover. Okay, so outline looks like this: in introduction, literature review, methodology, findings, conclusion. Any question? Are you following?
Yes, ma'am. No question.
Ma'am, following.
You're following, no?
Yeah, ma'am.
I hope it's not boring.
No, ma'am.
Not at
Okay. So once you have a list of what you want to talk about or write about, consider the best order to present the information. So writing a research paper ensures subtopics that depends on each other, or you should have a sequentially placed subtopics, and also use a chronological approach if the information follows a time base. Suppose if you're writing or if you're discussing any literature, you should follow chronological approach. Okay, so that will tell you how systematically, how sequentially you are writing or you're putting your ideas. And then break the outline into paragraphs for better. Don't write continuously, so that people are not going to like to read your page wise writing. So break the outline into paragraphs for better organization, and it helps to manage complex information systematically. Don't ever write complicated sentences. So try to put in simple sentences, and it allows greater control over the flow and coherence of the paper. So the entire paper should tell some story. Okay, so it should be coherent. You should avoid incoherent sentences. So people will say, don't there are many incoherent sentences and redundant sentences, please remove them. So you should be very careful. And also, fixing structural issues in the outline phase saves time later. Otherwise, if you just complicate writing, so repairing this complicated document is very hectic. So instead of repairing a complex writing, we can start a new writing and finish it. Okay, so key evidence in the outline to maintain completeness. So without evidence, so nobody is going to accept your paper. So it prevents important details from being overlooked. Okay, so people will say, you see, this person has already done this, but you have not, given evidence. You should point out. Okay, and also it ensures smoother integration of data and arguments in the final paper. Okay, so now once you have, outlined your steps, so now we will see how you can draft your paper. Once your outline is finished, it's time to start actually writing your research paper. So even the outlining is not writing. So once you outline, then your paper writing starts. This is by, longest and most involved step. But if you're properly prepared your sources and written a thorough outline, everything should run smoothly. So you can easily write your paper. So craft an introduction. It is not draft, it's crafting. So it is something like some art. Okay, so writing an introduction which includes sufficient background information and the working thesis statement. So you should have a proper hypothesis. Without proper statement of your work, nobody is going to accept your introduction. People will say your introduction is not up to the mark and there is no novelty in your work, and they will reject it. Okay, and then write sections of the paper following your outline. So you have already decided what are the subsections. So you write those sections according to your outline and write a brief conclusion. Okay, so now let us see what are the structure of the paper. Okay, so academic papers look like hourglasses. So this is our hourglass. So first of all, there will be an introduction, and this is the thesis statement and the entire body and the conclusion. So mainly you will have head, body, and tail, like, right? So head is your introduction and body is the complete methods, results, and discussion, and conclusion is like your tail. Okay, so like in hourglass, the conclusion broadens once more. So you see, introduction also makes a broad connections to the reader's interest, hoping they will be persuaded to follow along. Then gradually narrows to a tight focus thesis statement, because whatever you are adding is very small. Okay, so compared to the whatever it is available in the literature, the argument stays relatively narrow and focused on the thesis throughout the body or the middle paragraphs. Like in hourglass, the conclusion again broadens once more, reinforcing connections to the larger context. That means you're suggesting to the audience to come out with their ideas also. So that will give you a future broader perspectives. Okay, in simple words, what we should do is when we write a paper or structure a paper, so we should tell our audience what we are going to tell them. Okay, so that should be clear. And then you have told what you are going to tell them, you tell it to them. That is a second step. Don't say I'm going to tell this, I'm going to tell this, and if you don't tell it at all, so your paper is not good. Tell it to them and then tell them what you told them. Okay, so that is the conclusion. Okay, so you should tell them in the finally or in the last step that what you told them already. Okay, so if you convince all these three steps, then your paper writing is going to be successful. Okay, so why use the conventional system to write a paper? Okay, so the reader will know your position and can easily decide whether to read further or not. Okay, so once you are familiar with the model, you can read academic papers more efficiently. Yes, while writing a paper, going through other papers is very, very important. You go on reading the papers repeatedly so that all the words are going to come to your mind, and spontaneously you can write the paper. Otherwise, you have to search for the words. You will be thriving for the words. Okay, so that can be avoided. That can be, overcome by continuous reading of the papers. It's very, very important for any researchers to read other papers. So if you, create an account in the Google Scholar, it will tell you this is a paper which has published in your particular field. Then what you should do is you should immediately go through that paper and you should see how those authors. So three things you can observe. First one is what they have done what I can say, novel work. Okay, so what is their contribution, original contribution, that you can see, and what are the methods they have adopted in bringing out that idea. And the third one you can see is how they have written the paper very well, how they have drawn the pictures, what is the quality of their pictures, and what's the quality of their presentation, grammar, English, everything you can see. So if you go on reading, I think you will be equipped with all the techniques to write a paper. Okay, and a standard structure provides a template to help writers. Yes, all the publishers, other research papers will have their standard template to help the writers and organize ideas and keep track of all the components required required to write an academic paper. So you need not, thrive. Okay. So the depth and analysis of the structure of the paper goes like this. So it will be like in-depth analysis should be there. Title of the paper is the first step. Name and affiliation of the authors. I think I explained it in the first slide itself. Abstracts, you have to write properly. Introduction, materials required, methods, results, discussions, conclusion, acknowledgements, and references. So this is actually, layout of a particular paper. So what does I mean by a title of the paper? Let us understand one by one. So what is the title of the paper? In the research paper, the title is it should be a clear representation of the main topic or focus of the study. So title should be catchy. So then only people will come and read your paper. It serves as the first point of contact for the readers, providing them with an immediate understanding of what the research is about. You should not give any confusing title, and you should not give any ambiguous title. So the title should be crystal clear and it should be well crafted. The title should reflect the content. It should summarize the idea, core idea of finding out your research, and also it should be precise and clear. It should avoid jargon or overly complex phrasing to ensure it's easily, it should be easily understood. So avoid complex phrases. And also be specific. It should convey exactly what the study envisages. Otherwise, people are going to get confused and they will say, oh, this is very complicated or some confusing title. So let me not read that paper. So why they should read? If they read, then only your work is going to reach, right? If they read, then only they are going to give citation, right? So that is why title of the paper is very, very important. So a research paper title should be clear, concise, and informative, and should identify the main topic or subject, and it should highlight the key aspect, and also it should include the method or scope. Okay, so this is our paper which I was telling you. So you can see that this is a journal, and this is a publisher, and this is our title. These are the authors, address, and this is another paper. Okay, so a survey of literature on energy consumption and economic growth. So this is by some other authors. So this is a journal, this is a publisher, and these are the authors. And if you click show more, you will get their this is an example for showing you the title. Next step is abstract of the paper, right? So an abstract is a brief summary of a research paper. Okay, so you're going to give a gist or a brief summary of your research paper. So that should be typically around 150 to 250 words, and which provides an overview of the key elements of the study. So you should have one sentence about the introduction or your motivation, 1 or 2 sentences about your methodology, 1 or 2 sentences about your results and discussion, and one sentence about your results which you have got, important result or a conclusion which you have got, helping them. So it serves as a quick preview. So you see, whenever we see a new paper, what we'll do is we'll go through the abstract, and then we will see the conclusion, and we will decide whether that particular paper is readable or not. Okay, so and also it serves as a quick preview for readers, helping them to decide whether the paper is relevant to their interests or not. Okay, so we will have types of abstracts. Many types of abstracts. First one is descriptive abstract, and so it will give you a descriptive idea about the topic. Next is informative abstract. Okay, so that will summarize the key elements of the research in detail. And critical abstract, this summarizes the research but includes an evaluation or critique of the work. Okay, how to write an abstract? So these are the key steps. Start with a clear purpose. So you start with a clear purpose, identify the problem or research question your study addresses, state the objectives or goals of your research succinctly. Okay, so what you have done, you should state it properly, and briefly describe the methodology. As I already told you, summarize the methods or approach used in the study and highlight the key results, present conclusions. So one sentence or one or two sentences from these each things. So you are going to, come out with the abstract. Okay, how to write an abstract? What are the key steps? Maintain clarity and conciseness. Okay, so I told you, you should stick to the words and avoid long sentences or detailed explanations, because detailed explanation should not be there. And also you should avoid references to other literature or citations. So you need not cite anything in the abstract. So what are the additional tips for writing an abstract? So write last. Often, first of all, you should write introduction, results and discussion, method, all the sections. Once you are completed your paper, then go to the, the first thing, that is writing a abstract. Don't start writing the abstract first, because your results and discussion may vary time to time. Therefore, you should write the abstract at the last and tailor it to the audience. So think about who will be reading your abstract and keeping them in mind. So try to write the abstract. So these are the examples of writing abstracts. I'm not going to read them, so you can go through it later if the slide is shared to you. Now, after writing the abstract, next up, very important step comes, that is an introduction to the paper. All introductions should begin broadly. The audience, format and purpose of your paper influence how broad it should be. So depending upon the audience, depending upon the journal, you should decide how broad it should be. So you can expect more background knowledge from readers of a technical journal. Then you can frame a readers of a popular magazine. So if your readers are already into the field, if your readers are already experts, are doing some work in your field, then you need not explain each and everything. Okay, so if your readers are general audience, then you should explain and you should write an elaborative introduction. So there are few hooks to capture the readers. So these hooks are an eye-catching, startling fact or statistic. So your introduction should be like this, and it should be an interesting or provocative question. You should use these hooks. A definition of a key term or concept, an overview of a debate, the positions on both sides, and a question, puzzle or surprise. So in between, you can use all these hooks: an apparent problem or paradox, an intriguing anecdote, quote or observation. So if you use these hooks after you have hooked your readers, so you should hook them, means they should be like thinking from your lines. Keep them by presenting your ideas clearly and persuasively. So if you have raised some questions, you should answer them also. See the context of your paper, situating your topic in the context of other research in the field, and then you should see why are you making this argument in the first place. Whether you can answer it later or not, you should see, and what is the problem and why is this work important. And if a reader asks you, so what, you have to say, or you have to answer those questions in a very important way. If you are stuck, think about what led you to the idea in the first place and revisit back, and then you are going to answer those things. So hooking and topic, and also the thesis. These are the three important steps. So defining thesis statement, problem statement or research gap is very, very important in writing the introduction. The thesis is generally the narrowest part and last sentence of the intro. Thesis, I mean hypothesis. Okay. So, and conveys your position, the essence of your argument or idea. So it tells the reader how you will interpret the significance of the subject matter under discussion. So what we are going to do it, or what we are going to contribute in the discussion should be hooked in the introduction part. The thesis statement should show exactly what your paper will be about and will help you keep your paper to manageable topic. And if you don't know how to write an introduction for a research paper, the beginning can be difficult. That's why you should know your thesis statement forehand It is crucial. So if you know what you're going to, what you're going to discuss in your discussion section, then if you know what is your particular statement of problem or the hypothesis, then it is going to be easy. If you don't know about what you're addressing in your paper, then the writing paper is not going to be easy. So what is a roadmap? Not all academic papers include a roadmap, but many papers will have a roadmap. Usually, following the hypothesis, a roadmap is a narrative table of contents that summarizes flow of the rest of the paper. Okay, so after you quote a hypothesis, what you're going to do is, we have adopted this method and we have conducted this particular whatever the work, and then we have come out with the conclusion. So that you can put it as a roadmap in your introduction. So you see, this is the introduction. So in the introduction, you can see that we have considered an example. This is a research background. Okay, so this is whatever it is highlighting is a research background. And here they have stated a research problem. That's what I was telling you, hypothesis. So this is what has been done in the literature, and this is about what they are doing in the future. And here you can see there is a thesis statement, that is a hypothesis statement, and then they have discussed literature review, and then they have discussed about methods implemented in the particular study, and after that materials and methods. You see, the introduction runs around 1.5 pages. Okay, so now let me tell you about, after explaining introduction. So is anybody having any question on introduction part? Are any questions so far which I have discussed? You see, whatever I'm discussing is just a general overview. So don't think that this is the only way to write a paper, but I'm just giving you a general way of writing a paper. If you have any questions, you can just ask me at this point. Otherwise, I'll proceed.
No.
Shall I proceed?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so let me tell you about body of the paper. Body of the paper will consist of methodology and results and discussion. So methodology is about what to include. Yeah, the next question is what to include in the methodology, right? So you should explain how the study was conducted. Include the details and materials, tools, models, and software. You cannot say I have done this. So you should provide an evidence. So you should tell by which software or by which machine you have done that. So, okay, so what is the material? What are the materials you have used? What are the tools you have used? What are the models you have adopted? Or what are the softwares you have chosen? And justify the chosen methodology. You should tell why you have adopted that methodology also. You are not totally independent to choose whatever you want, whatever you can do, or something like that. Okay. So what are the common mistakes people will do? They will have a lack of reproducibility. Don't think that after we publish, some other person is not going to repeat the experiment. If that person cannot repeat the experiment or reproduce the results, your paper will be withdrawn. Okay. And missing details is frowned upon. So if you miss a details, your paper is going to come back to you. And citing of tool software used is must. So for example, if you have used Python language, MATLAB, R, SPSS, all these packages should be cited properly, and also should be like whether you have purchased it. If you are using a pirated copy, you should be very, very careful about it. So here you can see that in this paper, they have cited software. This is our paper only. So they have cited softwares used are, UCSF, Chimera Interface, first residue method is excluded. Okay, so this particular software is properly cited, and also they have cited the algorithm which we have used. So they have used this algorithm, that is also going to be cited properly. Okay, so that is about methodology. Now let me come to the results and discussion. So in the results section, so we have to present raw findings without interpretation. In the result section, we should present whatever the result we have got without, meddling it. So for presenting the raw results, you should use graphs, tables, and figures for effective visualization of the data. And after, presenting these in the graphs, tables, and figures, you should also explain it in terms of words also, and ensure statistical significance. So whether you are getting any errors in this, whatever the findings, so all these things should be, discussed properly. And what are the things you should avoid? You should avoid data misinterpretation. So misrepresentation, misinterpretation you should avoid. You should carefully replot and you have to confirm, yes, I'm getting the result. And if you are getting some wrong results, you should replot it. If you are getting a useful result, Sharat Kumar, please mute your yeah. So and also writing captions is a must. Okay, so you should write your captions perfectly and the caption should be understandable by the audience. Okay, so next discussion section. So in the discussion section, generally it will be combined with the result. Usually people will ask results and discussion. So when you're presenting results, you should discuss also. You can also discuss the results. But sometimes some journals will ask discussion separately. So, okay, so discussion section is, this is the place where you can interpret the results in the context of existing research. You can actually have a results and you can say that these results may be because of the interactions. Like in our work, it may be interaction between the two molecules, two atoms, or something like that, and it is evidenced by the previous research. Okay, so that such interpretation should be there, and you should highlight and acknowledge limitations and uncertainties. So you always have to use it may be because of, because you are not sure that it is because of such and such a reason. So you can also even tell the limitations and uncertainties, and you can also suggest future research directions. So suppose if you feel, so this analysis can be supported by something else, so you can just discuss about that there, so that some other person can follow it. Okay, so how to write these sections, that is results and discussion. So the body contains bulk of your research paper, so follow along your outline and go paragraph by paragraph, because this is just the first draft. Don't worry about getting each word perfect, because sometimes if we go on seeing a perfection in each and every line in the beginning itself, you will not complete the work. Later you can be able to revise. So could you please mute yourself? Fine tune your writing, but for your focus simply on saying everything that needs to be said. So it's always possible to do mistakes. Nobody is perfect, and you will. It's possible that you are going to, do mistakes. Don't worry about that. Okay, one of the most common problems with writing long works like research papers is connecting paragraphs to each other. Some people, what they will do is they will write all the paragraphs, but one paragraph is not going to be connected with the other paragraph. Okay, so always you have to use transition sentences to improve the flow of your paper. The previous paragraph should be connected with the next paragraph smoothly, so that you will have a continuity. Each paragraph of your paper should clearly support your thesis statement, and because in order to prove your thesis statement or hypothesis or the motivation with which you have started to write a paper should be satisfied and each and every step. Okay, so the key idea of each paragraph should be supported by the evidence which you will want to comment on, either to establish how you agree with it or argue against it. Okay, so drawing connections between different pieces of evidence and also with the results and also with the different ideas is very, very important. So here I have shown you a paper where subheading is neatly mentioned, and they have used a transition statement to connect paragraphs, and you can observe that observations made during the experiments have been discussed. Author's interpretation, this is an observation and this is an interpretation of the author. Okay, and figures and tables are placed in right order for easy visualization, and figures and tables are given right captions. So there should be self-explanatory. You see, your paper will be read by some other in your absence, right? So that's why everything should be self-explanatory. So you should write it in a very utmost care. Okay, so more on how to write these sections. So most paragraphs have 4 components: topic, sentence, evidence, analysis, and transition. So the topic sentence is usually the first in the paragraph. As the name implies, it tells the reader your main point and should connect to the thesis stated in your introduction, and subsequent sentences in the paragraph should relate back to this topic. So evidences means ideas, facts, or information from external sources that support your claims. Either data you collect yourself or the research or writing of others. So you may be having some data, or you may be referring to some other work. Okay, so that should be cited properly. And analysis. So analysis, you should never present evidence without some form of analysis. You cannot make an abrupt sentence. Okay, so you cannot come out with a sentence like, okay, all the leaves of plants are black or something like that. Okay, so you should have a perfect evidence for making such evidence, such statements. Otherwise, everybody will, throw out your work. Okay, even if the quote idea or statistic seems to speak for itself, you must offer the reader your interpretation of how it supports your topic sentence. Even you are coming out with a new idea, a new result, you may, open it for the question. Okay, so you should not make any absolute sentences. Although they are separate concepts, it can be hard to separate analysis from evidence in practice. So therefore, the evidence and the analysis should go linked with each other. Okay, and then transition. At the start of each paragraph, you should take help from the previous paragraph. Consider how it relates to the previous one. Also consider how the last sentence sets up your next point. Okay, so a short transition phrases like in contrast or similarly can guide the reader from one idea to the next. Too many transition words make writing clunky and hard to read. So you should not use too many transition phrases also, or lesser number of transition sentences also. So let's come to the conclusion, how to write a conclusion. Even after the body is written, you still need to know how to write a conclusion for a research paper. Conclusion is the last section of your paper. It will briefly review the argument you have built, but it's not a summary. It's your final pitch to the audience for your main idea. You are pitching some new idea to the audience. So how you can draft a conclusion? So a conclusion actually should remind the reader what you have just told them, clarifying the key ideas to ensure there is no misunderstanding. Return to the hook used in the introduction. You address that hook and you see whether you have answered those hooks. Return to a broader lens, reminding readers how the thesis applies to your context, and suggest what the reader should take away from your paper, and pose questions for future thread. That's a future perspective. Actions to be taken, policy interventions, or other implications of your ideas, and avoid repetition in the conclusion, and connect findings to the bigger picture, and keep your conclusions also concise and very small, and if possible finishing with the memorable closing sentence can round off your paper with a flourish and leave a lasting impression on your audience. So by the end of your paper, readers should already understand your position and the evidence used to support it. The conclusion provides readers a sense of completion. So you should come out with a proper conclusion. You can see here. So this is a conclusion which they have written. You see, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Only some 12 sentences. Okay. So you should not write, very long sentences. So next comes the acknowledgement. After writing a conclusion, you should write a conclusion, acknowledgement. What is an acknowledgement? Acknowledgement is giving a credit to the people who have helped you. So showing a gratitude. So the author of the paper will show gratitude to those who helped to the development of the work. So this can include individuals, organizations, or institutions, and even the funding agencies which granted the project or granted the fellowship. Okay, and also some people, one person may be helping you in solving certain sections. So you can also, acknowledge that person for helping for, whatever the purpose, and also resources also you can acknowledge. Okay, so some freewares are there in the community or in the internet. You can use them and you can acknowledge them. How to write an acknowledgement? So you start with the gratitude. Begin by thanking your primary supervisor, advisor, or mentor, and then acknowledge contributions. Mention other important individuals who played a key or pivotal role in writing your paper, that is colleagues, researchers, or funding bodies. Express personal appreciation and keep it concise. So don't go for a very long, like acknowledgement. Here we have acknowledged. So at that time, actually the author Upendra has got fellowship from this, so we have acknowledged. And also one person from CSIR CFTRI, Dr. Lalita Argauda, has helped us, so we have acknowledged that. And also you have to mention the disclosure statement. So you should declare that no potential conflict of interest was reported by the authors. So whatever the work we have done, it's totally independent, and we have not used any, we don't have any potential conflict of interest for our work. That also we have to declare. So last step is citation and references. So a list of all the sources cited in the paper, formatted according to the required style. I told in the last class, APA, MLA, Chicago, all these different forms of the citations are there, depending upon the paper requirement. Okay, so particular paper will have a particular requirement. According to that. Okay, so according to the guidelines of the journals or the institutions, we have to follow a particular citation method. So here, most models will share the following in common. What we will have in our citation? So they will provide author's name, date of publication, page numbers, and also some models also look like provide the title of the text and location of the production. So keep in mind that each formatting style has specific guidelines for citing just about any kind of source. So you see here we have shown some citations. So here citation shows author's name, and I told you what is the DOI number in the last class, and also the title of the reference paper. Okay, and also you can see here name and page number of the journal that the paper was published in. Okay, so all these information should be there in your citation list. Okay, so I told you in the last class how you can manage the reference, and different reference styles are there. Okay, so you will have American AAA and APA. Okay, so CM, all these different types of styles are there. So these styles can be managed in the Zotero. In the last class, I have explained you. So finally, appendix. So in the appendix, what you can mention is about the supplementary materials such as raw data, survey questionnaires, or additional analysis which can be included here. So sometimes the materials or the analysis which we cannot put in a main text can be put it as a supplementary material. For example, you can see this is a supporting information, a supplementary information. So there where we have moved some of the data into the supplementary. So this is also our paper. We have moved some tables and some figures into the supplementary material. Okay, so after you have prepared a draft, you will have to edit and review and proofreading. This is a last but not the least, it's a very, very important step. You should go through your research paper to correct all the mistakes by proofreading. So editing and proofreading are very, very important. And the last thing is you want to do is hand in a paper that's difficult to read and follow because of technical errors. So what you should do is you should, start with the again fresh mind. And you should check for this grammatical mistakes, spelling mistakes, and even any wrong statements or continuity. All those issues should be addressed. Okay, so then revise your paper draft. Set the paper for a last day. If time allows, more and more drafting is correcting the draft is required. Make sure that each paragraph has just one main idea expressed in a clear topic sentence. Read the paper aloud. That is very important. That's what we do. So every day what we'll do is we'll call a Zoom meeting at the night and we'll ask the student to read it aloud, so that if we hear some paragraphs or statements, we will come to rewriting the same thing in a different way. So you also read aloud to detect any weakness in reasoning and structure. Make certain everything in the paper relates back to your thesis statement. And also you give it your paper to your friend and ask him to read as an external member, so that what he is going to understand or she is going to understand makes to correct your paper in a better way. So ask someone to read your paper and give you general feedback, ensuring that they are not making corrections or changes to the paper themselves. You have a draft with you and you give it to them, and take your friends or whatever the collaborators help, and you correct it. So also you check for the are there any non-run sentences or sentence fragments? Like some sentences will be sitting, they will be giving some meaning also, but they will not give what I can say continuity. Have irrelevant or repeated phrases been deleted, or you just make sure that is word choice precise, vivid or varied, are appropriate verbs tense are used, are there any contractions? If so, I mean, you just make sure that you remove all these things. Search for the typos that you frequently make and double check that all of your in-text citations and reference list entries follow the required citation style. Double check that your page formatting follows the requirements of your citation style and professor. And also these things, you should check this with the professor. Finally, review any paraphrasing or direct quotations from sources to ensure they all have in-text citations. Finally, you have to even check with the, plagiarism check. Okay. So I will skip all these things. Okay. Because my student has made a very, very elaborative presentation. Yeah. So after you correct all these things, so submitting your paper to the right journal is also very, very important. So how to choose the right journal? I told already there is a software called Journal Finder. So you can take your abstract and copy paste there. It will suggest you. And impact factor. So you just think about your work, whether your work is of high impact. You just go for high impact factor journals and consider journal rankings, also Simago, Web of Science and Google Scholar metrics. And choosing the right journal is very, very important. I told you yesterday, open access and subscription based journals are there. If you are, if you are going to open access, you will get wider readership, but fees will be there. Subscription based, no author fees, but restricted access to the readers. And review and acceptance process. You should also see the timeline of the particular journal. Some journals will take a few months together, and they will just keep your paper and they will not at all, reply you anything. You just have to see everything before you, submit. So he has written a lot of submission process. After you submit, you will get the review. If your paper is, if they take it for the reviewing, after a certain time, you will, send it for the revision. So revision can be minor revisions. Minor revisions can be for some typos or something like that. And you will have major revisions. Major revisions may be for about the methods, analysis, and whatever you have done. And without mentioning anything, they may reject your paper also. That is also possible. So you have to, address all these things. Okay. So after you address all the revision comments, you can resubmit the manuscript and await for the further review. And then you will know whether your, if your revision is satisfactory to the editor and the reviewers, you will get a finally 1 day mail that your paper has got accepted. So then you will be very, very happy. Okay. So what are the tools for writing a research paper? Lot of tools are there. Google Scholar, PubMed, ResearchGate, Archive, BioArchive, physical resources. Lot of digital tools are there. I'm going to leave all these things. Okay. So let me go to the last slide and open this discussion, open this